Judge Vanderbeek Court is now in session. Judge, this is case number JVB 1011, Berkeley versus Alberts.
Thank you. Okay, you all may be seated. Okay, Miss or Mrs.? Miss Berkeley, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
Your Honor, I'm here to get custody of my grandchild and also to make my or soon-to-be ex-son-in-law to pay the child support. My daughter was diagnosed with lymphoma, and Your Honor, it was a long and difficult process, as you can imagine, and he wasn't up for it, and he left. And so I went and helped my daughter and helped my granddaughter.
All right, guys, buckle up. Today we're diving into a heated courtroom battle that's got emotional weight, family fractures, and a legal twist you won't see coming. It's Berkeley versus Albers. And what starts as a custody plea turns into a revealing showdown between grief, responsibility, and the cold, hard limits of the law. The courtroom opens with quiet tension as Judge Bundy calls the case. We meet Ms. Berkeley, the grandmother, who steps forward with a heartbreaking story. Her daughter passed from lymphoma, and now she's seeking custody of her granddaughter, plus back child support. Her voice carries both pain and determination. Right away, we know this isn't just about legality. It's about love, legacy, and a last stand for family.
Through this process. And they had been legally separated. He was paying child support, but when my daughter did pass away, I checked into the account. I had access to her financial business, and I checked the account, and he was not putting the payment in there. So I am looking for the back payments that are due, and I am looking to get custody of my granddaughter.
Okay, so let me just make sure I'm clear. Your daughter is deceased now.
Yes, ma'am.
And my condolences.
Thank you.
You're pretty much trying to step into the shoes of your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I understand.
I think it would be far more appropriate for me to be raising the daughter than for him.
Okay, why do you believe it would be more appropriate?
He has a lifestyle that I don't necessarily think is best for raising children.
Okay, well, I guess I'll get that from him. Mr. Alberts?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's going on?
Some of those details are correct.
Which ones are not correct?
The fact that I bailed on my wife, our marriage was over a long time before that diagnosis, and we mutually agreed that I would pay child support, that I would support her financially, and I did until she died. And now there's no one to pay child support to, and I don't know why she's dragging me in here, trying to take my kids away from me, talking about my lifestyle, saying I didn't love my wife.
What lifestyle is she talking about?
I don't know. Ask her, Your Honor. I really don't know.
What lifestyle?
Well, he spends a lot of times in bars.
Things heat up fast. Ms. Berkeley starts detailing how the father, Alex, walked away from his responsibilities when her daughter fell ill. She accuses him of spending more time in bars than with his child and letting a babysitter do the parenting. The emotional stakes rise as she paints a picture of a man unfit to care for a young girl still healing from the loss of her mother. Her argument is clear and pointed. He's absent, inconsistent, and unreliable. It's not just a legal fight, it's moral. She's not asking to replace her daughter. She's claiming to already be filling the role, and now she wants the law to catch up. The courtroom energy shifts from quiet to combative.
Bars.
Okay.
A lot of time in bars. He spends a lot of money on babysitting because he spends a lot of time in bars.
Okay. Going to the bar is legal.
True, but who's going to be there to help with homework? Who's going to be there to hear the sad story of how she was bullied in class that day? A babysitter? I don't think so.
So are you always at the bar and leaving the baby with a babysitter?
No, Your Honor. Anytime
How would she know that?
Maybe because I call every night to say goodnight to my granddaughter,
Okay.
and it's the babysitter that picks up the phone.
Okay, so you don't necessarily know whether he's there or not, right?
Well, why would there be a babysitter there if he's there?
Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying, you don't necessarily know if he's present or not. You just know that the babysitter picks up, right?
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
technically, yes.
Okay, well then technically you
Your Honor.
Why do you need the money?
I don't need the money. I need to make sure that my granddaughter is getting everything that she deserves.
But how would you know that if she lives with him? Now, if she lived with you, that would be valid. But if she lives with him, you can't necessarily speculate and say what he is or he isn't doing.
Well, I know what my granddaughter tells me.
Well, we're not going to go into that because children aren't very honest all the time. And how old is this child?
6.
Yeah, they have a very big imagination. So, I mean,
Mr. Albers
I
pushes
can't do
back,
anything about
and
that. He
hard.
should not be paying child
He denies
support.
walking out on
And I'm assuming you cover the
his
child
wife,
on health
claiming
insurance.
their relationship
I mean,
ended
the only
long
thing
before
I
her
can
diagnosis.
order, pretty much is that
His
he
tone is
maintains
calm, but
that
clearly tired
child
of being
support.
painted as the
Excuse
villain.
me, the medical
He
support
says
on the
he
child.
did what
But
he was
other than
supposed
that,
to. Paid support,
and that's through your
followed
employer?
through, and now
Yes.
raises the child on his own.
that's all.
What hits
that
hardest
he can be
is his
ordered to do.
challenge.
I'm not
How
going to
does the
make him pay
grandmother
child
know
support
he's
for a
not
child
present?
that belongs to
She
him and
isn't
that lives
there.
in his house.
She just hears a babysitter. Pick up the phone.
Fine.
But is that proof?
Okay. Is there anything
This
further
moment
from
is
you?
where the emotional
Your Honor.
fog
Anything
starts
else
to
from
meet
you?
hard questions. The courtroom turns from accusation
What
to
if the child
interrogation,
wants to come
and the
live
judge
with
knows
me?
it's time to cut
Well,
through
she's
the noise.
6, and you're not her parent. So she does not get to make that call. Now, dad starts doing something, like if it's actually proven that he's being neglectful and going to bars or anything like that, and the child ends up living with you, then yeah, but you're not the parent. So unfortunately,
Here comes the shift. The judge steps in with surgical clarity. She explains that once the mother passed, there was no one left to legally receive child support. The grandmother, no matter how devoted, cannot step into her daughter's shoes in the eyes of the court. She's not the child's parent, just a concerned guardian figure. This is where emotion and legality hit head-on. Ms. Berkeley may have been the more consistent presence, but consistency isn't custody. The judge isn't cold, just bound by the law. And in this courtroom, feelings don't outweigh facts. The silence between lines says it all. This case may be heartbreaking, but it's also closed.
can't do anything about that. Okay. If there's nothing further, you all are dismissed.
Berkeley makes one last stand. If the child wants to live with her, shouldn't that matter? But the judge is unmoved. A 6-year-old doesn't get to decide where she lives, especially not in a legal sense. The judge explains that unless there's proof the father is neglectful, the child stays with him. You can hear the frustration in Ms. Berkeley's voice. This isn't about what's legal, it's about what's right. But the system draws a clear line. Emotional involvement doesn't equal parental authority. The grandmother gave everything to this child, but the law says love alone isn't enough. It's a raw and real moment of powerlessness. Original clip timeline 7:06/8:24. The case comes to a quiet but final end. The judge dismisses it, but not before breaking it all down for the viewers watching. She explains the legal framework that led to the decision, how child support stops when the custodial parent dies, and why the grandmother, despite her good intentions, simply has no legal standing. It's a reality check not just for the people in court, but for anyone who's been in a similar situation. The emotion is real, but the outcome is ruled by law. The father keeps custody, the grandmother walks away empty-handed, and the rest of us are left to wrestle with the same question. When love and law collide, which one should win?